Qualifier done and dusted. Now it's time for the big E. Yes, it's the eliminator. This is a genuinely do or die battle. You come third, you come fourth, you have only one shot. This is like the old semi-final. It's Bangalore against Kolkata, and it's from Sharjah, a surface that maybe will suit Kolkata a bit more. But I think Bangalore have been experienced enough. They've done enough to know that they can overcome the 22 yards and anything in the mind. Let's have a look at the squad and see if we can find any possible need for tweaks as they go ahead. Ajay, they've been doing well-oiled machine now at the end of this tournament. The only question you tend to ask yourself, maybe, is a Wanindu Hasaranga on a Sharjah pitch.
Yeah, I mean, normally you think of a low, slow pitch and you would think of spin, but I think this Sharjah pitch, especially when the outfields are slow, and that's what we've seen in this term, this IPL, is that even the seamers do a great job. If you've got guys who hit the deck, I mean, people who don't give you much room, not much up to you, those guys are actually much more difficult to get away than just pure spinners, because, with pure spinners, you can still use your feet, and once you get to the pitch, everything in the air is still that same small size. So I would, not think of Hasaranga in this case. And I doubt that, RCB would be thinking that way. Rarely do you see them stick to the same side. Virat Kohli is not one of those. But in the last 3 games that they've, played, they've somehow managed to keep that same side. So I have a feeling that they might just go along with it. He's the one who likes the whole momentum business. And I doubt that he's going to change that.
Which obviously, Sean, means George Garton, Dan Christian, they're the ones who are going to do the job of the spinner in a sense. Of course, you've got Chahal, who's outstanding. Shabazz is going to be there to do the job. So that third slow bowler's job will be done by the slower balls, the cutters. And Garton and Christian done enough for you?
Yeah, I haven't been overly impressed with Garton, to be honest. Dan Christian, I think whatever you get from him, he's more like a package where you hope he gets you some runs and hope he gets you a few overs. But they've gone for the left-handed option of Garton, and I think he'll still be hoping that he can have a big impact, like one massive game where he can make a contribution. I just hope that surface is better, to be totally honest. I haven't been impressed with the last 3. They've played on that end strip. I'm sure they'll move to the middle, or I hope they move to middle. It'll obviously be a fresh strip and probably one used for this game and the next game. So whoever wins here gets a massive advantage of having played on this surface. But I would want it to be better. I mean, it has been a bit of a lottery. Guys have run up, whacked in back of a length, and it's hardly got up just over knee height, which doesn't make for a great contest. And I think you just want the surface to be good enough that the batters and the bowlers use their skills, and whoever skills are better, rather than the surface having such a big impact. But I would definitely say advantage to Kolkata. Having played on that pitch in the last game that they played, RCB are going to have to adjust, and I don't think they've played their best cricket so far at Sharjah. And I can't see how they will make a change at this stage. I mean, we've been calling for Hasaranga just to have a look at him, but I think this late in the tournament, I think they'll probably just stick with what they've got.
Fair point. Sticking to that 11, final point, Ajay, on Bangalore. They had maybe that question mark about the number 3 slot. They tried Dan Christian a couple of times, didn't come off. Srikar Bharat, obviously with that mindset and what he did with Glenn Maxwell at the other end, that will give Virat Kohli a huge amount of confidence. Number 3, sorted.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to give him a go after what he did in that last game, he bailed you out. You were in a fix, just didn't bail you out, but he actually saw you through. A little help from Delhi Daredevils there, Akshar Patel allowing him to come back. He almost gave up. I mean, when he hit that 5th ball, he wasn't coming back for the 2nd. But once he came back, he had enough time, and then he finished that game. So I don't see Virat Kohli moving him from there, because he's enjoying his opening. Hasn't had greatest of success. So he still wants to open. So you got, he wants to keep AB as deep as possible in that game. So Bharat is ideally suited for that number. He's got players around him who can, play at a different pace. All he needs to do is hold that inning together. And that's exactly what he did. And, what a finish that he had. I mean, for RCB, all these years, you've always had the talent. The problem has always been finishing games off. So this year, whether they are, chasing a total or they're defending a total, they've won many games off the last ball. I think 3 or 4 games, once batting, I remember this one, then a couple of times bowling. So, they've fought hard and won games. and Bharat has been an integral part of that. So I don't see that change at all now. Maybe one change. Sorry.
No, the only other change I think maybe, I just saw the list again and I'd forgotten about Kyle Jamieson. I think if you got a surface that's staying low, the height that he bowls from, I think he could be a handful. So that might be the one option in place of Garton or Dan Christian, just to think out of the box.
Fair enough. KJ, possible chance in there. Tall man also gives you a little bit with the bat, so he could be a replacement for Dan Christian if it comes to that. But the confidence, the flair will all be up against the guile, a little bit of mystery, and the experience on the surface for the men in purple. This is a team who has won the title before against one chasing their very first title. Again, with Shivam Mavi, that was the one area they were just trying to sort things out. They had Prasidh Krishna early on. In came Tim Seifert in a bit. Andre Russell's not around. There's no real news of if there's any recovery from that. We don't think there will be. But again, Ajay, settled 11?
Yeah, almost settled 11. I mean, if there is a worry, that's been the captain with his batting form, because everybody else just seemed to be flowing beautifully. I mean, Rahul Tripaঠি's probably turned it all around. With Iyer joining him, you see a different energy with that team while they're batting and the way they approach. This year, there's that certainty. At least they're going this way. There's no up and down anymore with them. And with their bowling, they've always been smart. They've used those two mystery spinners. I think that's been the key. Ever since Russell went out, you feel that maybe that fifth bowler, they've got away a couple of times with Iyer bowling a few there. But the solidity that, when Russell was playing, and not as a batsman, but as pure bowler. So, I mean, if it was me, I'd probably add another pure bowler in there. And because, they've added Shakib, I know Shakib gives you, a different kind of solidness that you need. But with his batting, and since you're not using him at the top, so his batting is not useful there. And if you're going to bowl him right at the top, you could actually do with a seamer as well. So that's a choice that they'll have to make. If it was me, I would probably go with another seamer in that side.
Interesting call there, because we looked at Shakib, bowled that first over, took a wicket in the last game, didn't come back to bowl again, obviously batting even below an out of form Owen Morgan. So for whatever reason, they don't trust his batting, Sean. So it could be just an interesting thought over there, because they definitely need a full bowling unit. We saw what happened with 4.5 bowlers in the match before that. So Sean, are you sort of concurrent with trying to sneak in another full-time bowler?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I think it'll all go down to that surface as well. And I hope they're not surprised by what they get. Having played on the pitch they did the other day, as a fast bowler, you could run up and just whack back a length as hard as you want. It stayed down. It made it really difficult to hit. I would think it would be a new pitch and it might come on better. That's the only thing that would play in the back of my mind is can they adjust their bowling to maybe a slightly better Sharjah surface that isn't holding up, that isn't turning as much. But yeah, I would definitely just go down on the day, have a look at the surface and see what you're going to get. And if it's going to be maybe assisting the faster bowlers, I'll have no problem. Because as you say, I mean, Shakib, he for me is a quality batter, and what he's done for Bangladesh with the bat is immense. But they're not using him at all. It really is almost a wasted position if you're looking for a batting contribution.